Good morning, everybody. Tim's not here, so I'm on the pedestal again. So as everybody says, you always are so much more fun when Tim's with you. I'm trying to make the video on my own, so I hope it still is fun for you. I'm making refrigerator soup for lunch, and he's coming home for refrigerator soup. Some of it's coming out of the refrigerator because I have some leftovers, but in the end, I didn't have as many as I thought I had, so some of it's going to come out of the cupboard too. So we're going to do some chopping, dicing, slicing, just to make this fun soup. I'm starting out here in my saucepan, as you can see, if you can see in my saucepan, yep. You can see I've got my mushrooms, onions, and I had 2 sweet peppers left, and I'm putting them in there to to saute, to start out the flavor. I'm going to be moving this around here and there, so I'm sorry if it's not exactly, not going to be as good a videoing as when Tim does it for sure. I added just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil because I'm not using any kind of grease or butter on this because I don't want the top of my soup to have any grease setting on the top. So I don't want that. So I just used a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and all I'm going to be doing is sweating these out a little bit. I'm not going to cook them down totally because the soup will cook afterwards on its own. I'm doing what I normally do, which is, onions, mushrooms. Like I said, I had the last 2 sweet peppers in there. And as soon as we get to a certain level, I'm going to do my usual trick with the garlic. But while we're waiting for that, I'm going to use, refrigerator soup is all about what's in the refrigerator. Leftover, leftover, leftover. Complete leftovers. So some things will be cooked, and I'll put them in almost last, like almost when it's done. I won't put them in right away. And some things like these potatoes, which I had cut when I was making scalloped potatoes the other night, and I don't need them. And I was going to use them for pan fry, but then I thought, oh, they'll be perfect in soup. So I'm just literally slicing and dicing them to make little bitty potato pieces, as you can see here, to be able to put in the soup, which will be kind of cool. And I'm just going to make a little bit of a pile here of them. Oh, you can hear that sizzling away over here now. So refrigerator soup can be anything. Refrigerator soup, right, today I have a little bit of ham, and today I'm using a little bit of beef. I've never combined meats in refrigerator soup before, but today's the first day. Normally it's themed on one thing or another. I'll either take a chicken carcass or a turkey carcass, and I will cook that in just water for a half an hour till everything comes off the bone. Well, I'll do the same with ham too, so I don't know who I'm kidding. You wait till everything comes off the bone. And once it all comes off the bone, you take it all out. You peel every piece of, if everything hasn't come off the bone yet, you peel whatever's left clinging to the bone, and you get rid of it, the bone, and then you throw your meat back into the pan. Then you start with the way I am right now, sauteing the onions and mushrooms and that kind of thing, and you build your soup like that. I don't need to boil any off of any bone today, so I'm just starting with my sauteed mushrooms and onions. This is a good way to use these potatoes. What a fun way, because they're going to be like little potato. It's going to have a little bit of ham and a little bit of beef in there, so it's going to have fun to have these potato slices, these little itty bitty shards of potatoes in there. It's fun. This will be a good flavor. Wait till you see what else I have. I've been cooking. I'm so upset because the other day for lunch I was, I do leftovers because Tim's never here for lunch during the day. And I do leftovers for myself here. So we don't usually eat leftovers at night together like we did the other night because there's usually not that much left over. And so one of the days I ate those beautiful sweet caramelized carrots beside one of my dishes. And now that I've got this soup going, I was like, oh, that would have been such a wonderful additional flavor. That sweet, syrupy tasting carrots would have been fantastic in here. But I don't have them, but we do have some different vegetables from different situations, which you're going to see how I'm going to use them in a minute. It's so much fun to make refrigerator soup because it's just literally, you're just going, opening the door, standing in front of the door for a minute going, what do I have in here? Now, if I'd had like a sweet potato already cooked or something, I would be adding that to it as well. Anything I have in there, zucchini, if I'd had zucchini in there, anything I have for a leftover vegetable, bam. Fair game, and totally goes in the soup. See how little these pieces are? I'm literally just making shards out of them so that they're not going to take over the soup because they're going to be just a little bit bigger than the onion pieces are actually. They're not going to take over the soup, but they're just going to add a nice little flavor in there. So Yeah, I know I've got a few more here to go, but I don't know, I almost think that I've got enough going on here. So, I'm going to stop with that. I'm going to put it over here for right now. These are almost sweated out. We're almost there. Getting my other cutting board, and I'm going to start to hack away at what I've got left for ham and what I've got left for beef. I've never put two meats together before, so again, another first in front of all of you guys. Yay! I love it when I do first in front of everybody. There's some stuck to here. I'll grab this off of here. Some of it's been cooked in a different way. Some of it's still, like we had some pan frying the other night, and there's some leftover pan fry in here. So now these are all sweated out. You can, and I know you'll know what I mean by sweated out. I don't know if I have to describe it to you. They're not cooked in full. They don't have any brown to them or anything. See, I just do my usual of garlic. Throw it in there. Never put the garlic in at first because you don't want it to burn. And I'm not adding any more olive oil because really I'm going to now just turn this off for a minute. So I've got some more creation to do and I don't want these to cook up anymore. So I'm going to turn that off. Like I said, I use olive oil instead of the grease that I keep from like my bacon and my the grease that I keep on bacon side port grease. I'm not going to use that today. But see, I'm just casually cutting off what is left from any meats on this ham. You can see there's still a little bit of meat here, still a little bit of meat there. I haven't decided yet if I will take these small pieces of fat, if you want to call it that. I think you do call it fat. I don't know. I was thinking of taking my small pieces of fat and boiling them down in a stock pan another day so that I could just have the flavor of ham because you can't use the fat, but it would be fun to start a soup or something with just the fats themselves. So as if you were boiling meat from a bone, go ahead and boil down these pieces of fat just to see if you can have the flavor in your stock. So I'm going to try that later on this week just to see. I mean, you know, before you toss it away or anything, you can see if it has another use. And remember, that's part of what all these videos are about, is finding a use for everything until it's gone, as well as trying to use ingredients that are just sitting around on your shelf. I love cooking shows. I love watching Rachel Ray. I love the Pioneer Woman. She's my absolute favorite. I love her, love her, love her. As you know, I have as many of her things in my kitchen that I can afford to have, with pie dishes, and I mean, I even have her mixer, her hand mixer and stuff like that. But the thing with cooking shows that gets me is I want to sit there and cook with them, and then I'm like, oh, I don't have that ingredient. Well, geez, I've never had that ingredient in my house. Oh, geez, I don't have that one either. So I get frustrated when I go to cook with these shows because I don't have the ingredients that they're sitting there featuring. And I do love Rachel Ray a lot. Years ago, she used to do, I think it was called 30-minute meals. It was some shows that she did that's how I first saw her, was when she was doing those other shows. I think they're called 30-minute meals. And those were all, just like me, they were all recipes that you just opened up your fridge and you had them in your fridge, which was really, really cool. And now, as much as I love her show, it's very entertaining and wonderful. I just have a hard time making her stuff because a lot of the times the ingredients she's featuring, I just wouldn't have them normally on my shelf. It's something I'd have to quickly go to the store and buy. So I still watch her for entertainment value, that's for sure, but I don't cook with her a lot, unfortunately. And that's kind of sad. I watched Paula Deen a few times years and years ago, but I never knew where to catch her or whatever. My favorite definitely has been the Pioneer Woman. We might have enough ham here that we don't even need to use the beef. Look how much ham is piled up here. We thought we had nothing to speak of. That's why I pulled out 2 sources of meat. Look, I've got quite a little pile here. I might not. I might just go with the ham on this. I may just, and that is fabulous. I did not know when you add this all up that I really had this much ham. Again, it goes to show you, you think you just have a small piece of meat, or you just have a small whatever left over, like when we did those wraps for that lunch with the, was it beef or turkey or something? I guess it was beef. We had this little tiny piece of meat that was left over from Tim and I grilling one day, and it was really seemed to be small if you looked at it, and in the end we made 2 wraps. that were absolutely full. They weren't even skinny wraps. They had lots of cheese and lots of meat in them. So it goes to show you that you can make a little, I don't think I'm going to need any other meat here, for goodness sakes. I think this is going to be it. And if I'd realized that, to be honest with you, if I'd realized how much ham I had here, I probably would have done what I just started talking about. I would have taken the fat and boiled it so I could have that ham flavor, and then gotten rid of the residue of the fat there, and built my soup around that. But I've already got it started this way, so I'm not going to stop. We're going to keep going this way, the traditional, just whatever. You never know what's in the fridge when you open it up, and you got to look way in the back. One of these things I found way in the back that had fallen back there because it got pushed back there by something that was placed in the front. So you got to open it up and pay attention. That's quite a pile of ham we've got here. I think we have plenty for this soup. So I'm not going to open the beef portion, which is kind of cool. There we go. All right, here we are. So now this is how we put together our, and I'm going to see if I can't get you closer to the pan. There you go. That's about the best I can do. Well, maybe I can bring up a little more. There you go. Here we go. This is what we're doing. I'm not gonna be able to show you where I'm drawing everything off the cupboard from, but you'll be able to see it as it's going into the pan. So the first thing I do, as you know, this has the mushrooms, the onions, the 2 small sweet peppers I had left, and I just barely added the garlic in. It's all set. It's sweated out. You can see what I mean by sweated out. They're flexible, almost transparent. See, you can see them almost transparent, but they're not overly cooked. They're not cooked all the way through, and that's for a reason, because we had to keep going with some cooking here. The other day we did this making the spaghetti sauce. Here is one of my bags of tomatoes from the garden, which looks like it's going to fight me to open up, so hang on for just a second. I'll go off to the side and start on the side instead. Literally, again, and of course this, when you do it, it's just basically mushed up tomatoes, because I mush them in my hand and I just keep adding them to the bag, so the bag is full. But when it freezes, it always, of course, has a watery consistency to it. So remember that when you're adding water to your soup, that some of your water content is going to come out of here too. Not a ton, but some of it. So I don't know. Again, another one of my recipes with zero measuring, because it's whatever is in the refrigerator. So start that, plop that down in the middle, bam, that's your first and main ingredient other than the mushrooms. Then you're gonna go like this, and you're gonna, oh, definitely got enough ham, so we don't need to use beef at all. So there, and we've got our diced up potatoes here, which, isn't that cool? How cool, they're just tiny little small pieces of whatever. There, of potatoes that are of whatever, just not even a standard size, they're just generally cut. Then the other night I had cooked up some vegetables. I'm going to dump them in, except the broccoli. I always cut it up a little bit. You know what though, I'm not going to add this right now because these are cooked all the way. So I'm going to tell you what I would do if I was cooking these. I'm going to add these just towards the end, but what you can see that it's just random vegetables that I had with dinner the other night. See, I'm going to plop this in just before it's all cooked to heat them back up, because they don't need to be cooked. And the same goes for, we had Chinese the other night, as you know, and here's some vegetables that are left over. So just before the soup is completely cooked, maybe 10 minutes before, I'm going to add those vegetables, because they would be cooked too much if they were in there now, because they're already cooked to perfection. They've just been in the fridge. So the next thing I'm going to add is, because I've got a tomato base, this is my secret to all of my soups, V8. I don't use just tomato juice, I use V8 because I've already got all the flavors in there. They've already done all of my, like, I don't have to add special salts and peppers or anything to them, because V8 has such a wonderful flavor to it already. And with this size soup, I'm going with 2. This is the secret to so many of my soups. I don't know, have you ever heard of hot dog soup? Hot dog soup is really fantastic. It's something that my ex-husband loves to make. And of course, you know, I've already told you what a hot dog snob I am. And I don't use anything other than Mackenzie's natural casing. But I'll have to show you how to make that because it's just some potatoes, onions, water, and hot dogs. But the secret to that is the V8 in there, again, flavors it. So I'm going to put some orzo in there, which is enriched macaroni products. So it'll be like, there will be a little bit of pasta in. And I know, I've already put potatoes in. Why would you put pasta in? But I like the pasta and potato. I'm not going to put a ton. As you can see, I just put a few little scoopy hand things, not even full handfuls, just the ends of my fingertips. And because I don't have a ton of vegetables, like I said, I've got this nice container which will be going in, and I will be chopping that broccoli up a little bit more. I don't put them in that large. As you saw, I started chopping this broccoli up. See, like these kind of pieces will be perfect. Again, those will go in about 10-15 minutes before your soup is done. What I'm going to do, because I would like a little more vegetables, and I thought I had more vegetables in the fridge, but remember I ate those carrots, I'm going to use what they call Hearty Vegetable Stew Blend, and this is from the health food store. It's $17.99 for this entire package, but it is 16 ounces, and literally it's, see, vegetables that are all dehydrated. So I'm gonna just throw, and everything's in here from corn to, I can read you what it says here if you'd like. Contents. It does usually say here somewhere what the contents is. Oh, here we go. Ingredients: potatoes, peas, dehydrated onions, carrots, corn, bell peppers, cabbage, green beans, celery flakes, and parsley. And it's okay that it has a little bit of potato in there because I didn't put all of my potatoes in there, knowing some of it was in here. So a couple of little, to add to, because I'm going to put more vegetables in. And then I'm going to quickly, I'm going to put it on high to start with. And the last thing I'm going to put in is, I'm using beef stock today. I was thinking of using vegetable stock, but because it's ham, I don't know, should we use vegetable stock or beef stock? Yeah, maybe. Let me see if I have vegetable stock. Okay, I'm coming, guys. Sorry for leaving you like that. Normally Tim would have talked to you or made some sort of joke while I was gone. So I'm going to use, so there's a couple things you can do. You can use water and do this. They're called Flavor Boost, and this is vegetable, and you put however much water you want in your soup, and then you just add 1 or 2 of these. It's a concentrated broth, if you can see right here. Fabulous, super fabulous. I get this in chicken and beef and vegetable all the time, and I think, if I remember correctly, there's also a seafood one. And I get this in vegetable, beef, chicken, and seafood as well. So I'm going to use, I'm going to definitely, since we even went ahead and used olive oil instead of any of the greasy kind of fatty butters or anything like that, I'm going to go ahead and use vegetable stock. So here we go. Just going to fill up the rest of your pan, leaving enough room for your other vegetables you're going to put on top. So I say right about there should be enough. Yeah, right about there should be enough. What's going to happen is, first thing, I've got it on high so I can start to defrost, not defrost, but get this to break. Well, I guess it is defrost. The tomatoes, get it all to break up, which will be fun to have those tomatoes in here as well. And then, so this is going to be, I don't know, half an hour or so it's going to cook like this. And then, once it starts to boil, I always turn it down and put it on no higher than medium for sure. And if you really have a long time and want it to simmer for a long time, you can put it right down on low and just let it simmer all day if you'd like. Tim's coming home for lunch soon. I started this late because I got a wonderful call from my brother because I tried to start making this a half an hour ago, and he's been on the phone with me for a while, and I haven't spoken to him for a while, and he was gonna, we're kind of planning on how to get Sunny home and that kind of stuff, so he was chatting with me, and then I realized, oh my god, it's almost 12, so I'm going to cook this one up a little bit hotter and a little bit faster because Tim is coming home. But that's how easy that is. So I've showed you just some of the ingredients in there. It's refrigerator soup is whatever is in your refrigerator. So there is no recipe for refrigerator soup. It's open on my refrigerator. Oh, I have chicken. I have whatever kind of vegetables. Like I'm using vegetables that I got from the Chinese restaurant the other night because those are still wonderful. They'll have a different flavor. I'm even throwing the sauce in with it because the sauce has its own flavor and it'll add to the flavor that's in the soup. And I've got vegetables so I'm throwing vegetables in from different sources, and that's what refrigerator soup is. It's wonderful. It's tasty. It never tastes the same twice in a row. You can always use V8. You can always use water. You can always use any of the stocks, the vegetable, chicken, beef. You can use the flavor boosters. Don't forget the better than bouillon that I always use. If you don't have the flavor boosters and you don't have any vegetable or beef stock or whatever, that I'll get it for you to remind you again that this is my best friend right here. We used this, remember, when we were making French onion soup. So here's the chicken, here's the beef, and I have more in there, but here's the two most used ones. So starting with water and putting this in to flavor it up. So don't worry if you don't have any stock that you bought. And if you don't even have anything like this, all you need is just beef bouillon or chicken bouillon. Everybody usually has a bouillon cube or two in their cupboards. So I know people say I have a hard time making soup. It's really just flavoring whatever you like. There's no mystery to soup. The only mystery is if you really want to make it thick, like if you're making corn chowder and you like the really thick corn chowder like they usually sell in the restaurants, and not the thinner kind that you used to have when we were kids, when Mom just would make milk and butter and this and that. We never knew that there was a really thick corn chowder until I started eating in restaurants. And then, we can talk about how to make those thick instead, and those are the ones that are more of a mysterious way of making them. Regular soups are just, you can be fancier and buy stocks. You can go with just water in your sink and then keep building from there and using bouillon cubes and better than bouillon and these flavor boost anything you have that's going to give it flavor. There's no huge mystery to soups. None, none, none. And taste it. As it's cooking, get a spoon, taste it. Oh, that tastes like that's not heading in the direction I want it to have. So I'm going to add a little bit of this, because you can change that flavor so quickly with thyme or basil or anything that you want to put in there to change the flavor. I'm not putting any spices in here whatsoever because I purposefully used V8, and V8 already has a lot of spicing in it. I'm going to wait till it's close to the end. I'm going to see what's been brought to the foreground for flavor, and just before, we'll see if I put any thyme or rosemary or anything else in there. And sometimes the thing that I used, we talked about this already, a thing that I used for years was, because it's salt-free and it's got a lot of great other spices in it and they're already mixed. So this has always been a go-to of mine, so I don't have to pull out the rosemary and the thyme and the this and the that, the basil. This one has such a great combination that 9 times out of 10 I just usually use that. So I hope you have fun with refrigerator soup. It is a blast. It's a way of cleaning out that refrigerator. Again, you've thrown nothing away. I still haven't even thrown the other part of the ham away because I'm thinking of cooking it down to make a stock for something else later on, and I'll put the stock in the refrigerator and I'll use that stock. So still haven't thrown anything away. I will see you later. I don't know exactly. I had something planned for later on, but can't think of what it is off the top of my head. Oh, no, I can't. Well, anyways, we'll talk about it later on when I remember what it is and start videoing again. Have fun with your soups. Bye.